All right, everybody, welcome back to Droppin' Dimes. This is episode 3. I'm Matthew Donio. That's Adam Deeney. Pleasure to be here again, Adam.
Pleasure to be here again. This week coming up, football it's the divisional round. Wild card is
One
over.
of the most exciting times of the year for
Yeah.
football. I mean, you got the college football national championship coming up too.
Yeah, we have a lot to say about that
Yeah.
one. That's going to be coming up later in this episode. But first, we got the divisional round. There's 4 games on hand. In the NFC, we have the Eagles and the Rams, and then we have the Lions and the Commanders.
Mhm.
In the AFC, then it is the Chiefs and the Texans, and the Bills and the Ravens. So I guess we could just pick and choose which game we want to start
Yeah,
with.
let's make our picks. I mean, I want to start with Texans Chiefs because, I mean, I love the Texans. I'm going to be rooting for the Texans, but I just don't think the Texans are going to be able to do it because, you know, the Chiefs, they've got Mahomes. Now, Mahomes, he's not having the best year he's had, but, I mean, he's still a solid quarterback, and he finds ways to win games. You know, the Chiefs, I keep saying the Chiefs are due for a loss, but it hasn't happened. So, you know, I think the Chiefs will take this one. I think the Chiefs take it, and they move on to the AFC Championship.
I'm gonna have to agree. Uh, I like the Texans also, but yet again, it's the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They have every
CJ Stroud has just had a really bumpy year. He's had that second year slump. But, you know,
I agree. I think the Chiefs are gonna go on to the AFC Championship, and they may or may not punch their ticket to another Super Bowl. Who knows?
yeah,
But
hopefully not. I mean, I'm not rooting for the Chiefs. I think it's better if we see a different team for once than the Chiefs.
yeah,
You know, that's no knock to the Chiefs. They're a good team, but nobody wants to see them every single year. It's the same thing with the Patriots, right?
yeah.
It's the same thing. It gets old, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So then if we get over to the other AFC matchup, we got the Ravens and the Bills. I mean, personally, I think the Bills should have no problem winning that. I think it's going to be close, but I think in the end, the Bills are going to come out on top. Josh Allen is an elite quarterback, but so is Lamar Jackson. I mean,
Yeah,
but I just don't think the Ravens can pull it off against the Bills. The Bills have been hot. They're riding a hot streak. So
yeah. Out of all the games, in my opinion, this is definitely going to be the one to pay the most attention
this is
to.
going to be the one to watch.
This is
Marquee matchup of
this is
divisional weekend.
this is
Yeah.
going to be in my opinion, what I think is going to be the best game out of the divisional round because you have the Ravens and the Bills, two playoff caliber teams who had great records. Um, it's basically a showdown between Lamar and Josh Allen, two of the best quarterbacks in the entire league. Those two guys are at the top for MVP candidacy.
They are.
So it's basically just an MVP showdown, and the MVP. Lamar won the MVP last year, right? And everyone was going crazy because like they thought someone else should have gotten it and whatever. Ravens fans didn't really care because Lamar obviously won, and they were like, okay, stats don't really matter. Lamar won, whatever. But now, because of the season Josh Allen's had, and Lamar's had a really good season too. Because of the season Josh Allen's had, a lot of Ravens fans are like, oh, it's all about the stats. Stats do matter, and they think it should go to Lamar. I think either one of them have their
good shot to win.
A good shot to win it.
Yeah.
I really don't know who is going to win this game. Whoever it is,
they're gonna have to fight the Chiefs.
They're gonna have to fight Kansas City,
and that's gonna be tough. But
that is really gonna
that
be tough.
game. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what will end up being a better game if it's if it's Ravens Chiefs or Bills Chiefs.
Yeah,
because I just don't. I still really don't think it's gonna be the Texans. Now they could pop out of nowhere.
If
but
it's if it's the Ravens, you gotta hope. If you're a Ravens fan, you gotta hope that Lamar doesn't choke against Kansas City like he did last year.
Yeah.
But if you're the Bills, maybe
if Lamar chokes against Kansas City, then we got Kansas City in the
yeah.
Super Bowl. Then,
but if
we got that
if
far.
the Bills beat the Ravens and they go on to face Kansas City, you got to hope that maybe the Bills can pull it off this time. Because there was a viral video a couple years ago where the Bills lost to Kansas City in I think it was the divisional round or the AFC Championship, I believe, and there was like a video where Stephon Diggs was like looking at the scoreboard, like with his hands on his hips, and the confetti's falling down on top of
Yeah.
him.
I think
So
I've seen that one.
I don't think you want a moment like that to
Yeah.
happen, especially to Josh Allen.
Yeah. So then let's go over to the NFC. I mean, we've got the Rams and the Eagles. I mean, now I think the Eagles are due for a loss, but I don't think the Rams are
I
good
hope
enough for it yet.
I hope they lose.
I hope the Eagles lose too, but let's be so for real.
I
I
don't
think the Eagles are going to come away with this one. The Rams,
I think
the
so.
Vikings had a generational choke in the end of the season and playoffs now. I don't know what happened to the Vikings. We should have had them moving on, you know.
We
That was just
really should have. I mean, like it wasn't really a downfall, but the Vikings just really didn't perform in the
they
game
didn't, and that's because of Sam Darnold.
against the
It's
Lions
all because of
in
Sam
the wild
Darnold.
card. They didn't perform. Sam Darnold,
He could have gotten himself a solid QB1 job
I
and
think
an extension, and
he cost himself a lot of money
I
because of
know.
those 2 games. He
I
might
think
not
that,
get paid
and
as much.
honestly, that could be why he played so poorly. You know, he just knew what was on the line,
Yeah,
and that gets in your head. And if you get in your head, you're done.
I like the Rams matchup against Philly. I just don't think they can. I don't think they can beat Philly. And then, obviously, if Philadelphia wins, then well, my only hope for the Eagles not to go to the Super Bowl is for the Lions to win.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Eagles pull off the win here against the Rams.
All right, so then we got one more matchup for the divisional round. We got the Commanders and the Lions. I mean, what do we think about that? I think the Lions are unstoppable, right?
Yeah, they're really
They're just a force.
Such a good team. Commanders are really good too. Dan Quinn's done a nice job.
And you got to be rooting for the Lions because they've been bad for so long, bad or mediocre, just for so many years. Their fan base deserves it, you know.
Yeah, they've gone through so much.
Yeah, I think that, but so have the Commanders. So these are 2 teams that are just they're gonna be fighting to the last second, I think, because
I feel like the Commanders.
But the Commanders have a very bright future.
They have a very bright future. Jaden Daniels looks like he's going to be a great
So even if this
player.
year isn't their year,
he'll still be good.
He's still going to be around for a while.
He'll still be good.
We can all tell that. You know?
The Lions have a great chance of going to the Super Bowl, maybe even winning their first Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
The Commanders shocked me this year. I didn't expect them to be this good.
Yeah.
They pulled it off.
My Steelers beat them.
They pulled it off against the Buccaneers.
How about that Hail Mary versus the Bears, man? That was impressive.
That was absolutely.
You know, we got our cameraman Robert behind the camera today. You know, he's a bit upset that I just mentioned that, but you know,
it's
that was just insane. Like
that was crazy.
Luck. That like the luck on that play.
The Commanders really they really had a great season.
We could have a whole show on the Bears.
We could.
I mean, the downfall and how good they should have been, but anyway.
He's just so mad at us behind
the camera.
Mad,
but all right. Goodness. So let's talk about the national championship.
I think first off, I think the Lions are going to beat Washington. But changing topics here, college football has the national championship coming up.
The Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Notre Dame Fighting Irish against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Us two are huge Notre Dame fans.
Go Irish!
The fact that they made it this far is incredible.
Let's be so for real. When we saw that NIU loss, oh my goodness, I was watching with my grandma, and honestly, at one point in the very beginning, I was gonna pick up a shift at work because I thought it was a free win. You know, usually I don't skip work.
You know,
usually I don't skip games for work.
After they lost that game, I thought the season was cooked. Honestly,
I thought we were done
because they lost to NIU.
What do you know? Here we are. We are in the national championship.
Because after they lost to NIU, which again was only by, I'm pretty sure it was a field goal, right? Like a game-ending field goal.
Yeah.
But after they lost to NIU, they then went undefeated.
I mean, the NIU game was a pretty close game, and Riley Leonard, that was embarrassing by Riley Leonard.
They beat Indiana.
As long as Riley Leonard doesn't have a generational choke like he did in that game, which I don't think he will because so much is on the line. We're the underdogs in this game. Notre Dame does better as the underdog. We've been the underdog in a lot of games this season, you know?
Yeah.
Like we were the underdog versus Penn State, right?
Yeah, we were. We were.
I mean, and in big games, Marcus Freeman is a big game coach.
He's a really good coach.
He is one of the best coaches I've seen in a long time. And honestly, his future is so bright.
Yeah.
Whether that's with Notre Dame, which I hope he stays with Notre Dame
Yeah.
for years and years and years. I hope he's one of those coaches, almost like Mike Tomlin, how he stayed with the Steelers for years and years and years. And he just builds like a dynasty, you know? I hope Freeman does that. Like he could go. So I mean, all these NFL teams, man, they've got to be like falling for this dude.
I feel like an NFL team could really use a guy like him.
They could use a guy like Freeman.
They really could.
He's just so inspirational. I don't know if you ever seen some of his locker room speeches.
His locker room
speeches are such an really inspirational coach. The players love him.
The players fight hard.
He knows what he's doing.
The players fight hard for him.
How about the punt shuffle? That's just insane coaching.
I'll say this. You know you have a good coach when not only the players love him like as a person, but like they go out onto the field and they play hard for him.
Exactly. They play for Coach Freeman.
And they play for him. And that's exactly why they were able to beat Indiana and they beat Penn State, and now they're going on to against Ohio State in the national championship. I'm pretty sure Notre Dame is the underdogs by like at least 10, I believe.
Yeah,
which is
it's
like,
insane.
It's a really big margin.
It's disrespect.
It's probably the biggest margin I've seen in a national championship game.
I know,
in a really
and
long
I don't
time.
really think Ohio State's good. I can't deny that. It's going to be a close game.
Well,
I don't think either team blows each other out.
Well, they kicked Oregon's butt.
But Oregon, they just had a terrible.
Yeah, they were.
Now Ohio State. Remember Michigan, Ohio State? You remember that game? Michigan beat them.
Ohio State always loses to Michigan.
That's true. That's true.
I feel like it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, who Ohio State has on their team.
But can we get Ohio State to choke?
I mean, that's the question. Like,
now all the rest of the media is glazing Ohio State. You won't find that here. We're not going to glaze Ohio State here.
Well, I feel like we've been glazing Notre Dame.
We kind of have been glazing Notre Dame, but
I'm
not denying Ohio State's good.
I'm not denying
that. They're a good team.
It's not like I think Ohio State's bad. They're a great team. Quinshon Judkins is great. Jeremiah Smith is great.
Yeah.
Will Howard is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Like they have
They have talent.
Emeka Egbuka, probably going to declare for the NFL draft, I believe.
They have a lot of talent on that team.
They have a lot of
talent. But I just think, whatever happens, I'm obviously hoping it's a win especially because I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be tailgating in the morning.
The fact that you are going to go to the national championship for college football is actually crazy.
And honestly, I thought we were going to be done versus Georgia. I mean, I kind of thought we would be done there.
Yeah.
And then we beat. I mean, Indiana and I went to the home game. That home playoff game was just electric. I mean, that atmosphere will probably never happen again for a Notre Dame game. And I mean, we've just. It's time. It's time for another national championship.
I mean, they haven't really had anything going for them for a really long time.
We haven't.
But again, you going to the national championship is honestly insane. Like
I know. It's like the Super Bowl but college football, you know? I didn't even think I was going to be able to make it, but
that's a crazy event to go to.
But I'm gonna be tailgating. So there's gonna be a lot of memories made, and hopefully the best memory is.
Imagine if you see Notre Dame win while you're there. That is absolutely
crazy. If
they
storm the field, I'm storming the field. If we win, I don't want to go that far, but I'm storming the field if we win. I'm storming the field. I'm gonna bring all my cousins and my uncles. We're gonna run down.
If you are actually able to imagine, you just like pull out your phone and get the entire video of all the Notre Dame fans just like storming the field after you win the national championship.
My goodness.
That would be insane. That would be crazy.
Well, not much else to talk about, but I mean, football's starting to. This is the peak of football right here.
Yeah,
peak of football all year long.
There's gonna be less games each week.
Less games.
It's all leading up to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so we'll have our commentary on the championship games, and then eventually the Super Bowl. So. And that'll wrap up our year.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
that does it for episode 3.
Yeah, that's it for episode 3. All right.
Nice talking with you.
Yeah.
He's Matt Donio. I'm Adam Deeney. Signing off until episode 4.
We'll see you in episode 4.